Okay, we are live. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the health show today. We apologize for the 4 minutes gap or something. Today, we have with us somebody who's going to talk about emergency. Today, we're going to talk about five basic emergency that you should have while you're living in the country. Anything can happen anytime. So we have an expert with us that's going to tell us those basic five emergency tips that we should have in our pockets that we can bring them out anytime and help a life or help ourselves come out of any disaster that will meet ourselves. So let us introduce ourselves. We have our co-host, Mr. Robert. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm Robert Abache. I'm a socioeconomic analyst and the co-host on the show.
Okay. We have our guest, Jessica. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I am Jessica. I'm a paramedic at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital. I'll be teaching you on the basic emergency skills everybody should have. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much, Jessica. Thank you, Robert. So back to emergency. What are emergencies? Like, what do you classify emergencies as, Jessica? I don't know if you can give us an idea of what an emergency basically is.
Okay, an emergency. Sorry, thank you. An emergency is any life-threatening condition that can happen to anybody. It could be at
Okay.
home, it could be at the workplace, it could be anywhere. So any form of condition that is life-threatening at that moment that need urgent care or urgent response is an emergency. And it can come in
Okay.
various types. It can come as
Okay.
fall,
So
it can come as in the form of stroke, it can come in the form of cardiac arrest, it can come in the form of cessation of breathing. This person is not breathing, respiratory arrest. So any of this can be classified as an emergency.
okay. Okay. So you mean emergency can happen anytime, anywhere, in any
It can happen
place.
anywhere, anywhere. It can be in the house, any place at all.
Okay. Okay. What do you think are the causes of this emergency? Will you say carelessness or will you say nature? What do you think are the causes of this emergency?
Okay, can be of two types. Could be natural, you can't control it. It could be man-made, it could be caused by us. Now, example of natural emergencies are the ones that could be incidental or accidental. For example, gunshots, wounds. Nobody plans to sustain emergency or sustain injuries from gunshots. Then it could just be as a result of your body.
Yeah.
You can't control it. Your body responding internally. Could be in the form of cardiac arrest. Could be in the form of heart failure. Could be in the form of diabetes. Any form at all.
Okay.
The man-made emergencies are those ones we know are self-incurred. For example, sorry, you are told, okay, you are driving, use your seatbelt to drive, or you are told, okay, when you are in the kitchen, don't don't put in your gas and not lighting it up. There's no need for you putting on your gas when you're not going to ignite it. So all these are types of man-made emergencies caused by us. The other types would be from snake bite, scorpion. Nobody wants scorpions to bite them. So
Yeah,
those
that's
are
true.
you don't predict it. It can just happen.
Okay. Okay. Now, we are living in a social media age. So,
Yeah.
uh, where everybody wants to trend, everybody wants to be live, everybody wants to be on TikTok. So, do you think this social media age we are equipped enough to address emergencies like that? What do you think?
Well, in this social media age, everybody is actually doing what will make him or her trend. This could also be
Yeah.
contributors to emergencies. You understand? In a way,
Yeah.
having the social media hasn't really helped us in promoting emergencies. Like how do you take care? How do you ensure you are safe? You are careful enough not to go into emergencies. It's one of the most neglected parts of social media. It's not really helping,
Okay.
it's not really contributing to preventing emergencies anyway. It's just talking about our own
Okay.
personal life and how they influence others. The part of the area of healthcare and emergency is being neglected, is not often talked about on the social media.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Robert, I don't know if you have any question for our guest speaker before we move on to analyzing the basic emergency tips that she think we should have to live a healthy and to
Okay,
overcome
thank you.
emergency.
My question
Yeah.
is, what are the peculiar emergency challenges to Nigeria?
You said?
Peculiar emergency
Peculiar
challenge. What are the
emergency challenges in Nigeria.
Okay, now in Nigeria, the most common type of emergencies, there are different types, like I said. The leading cause of emergency in Nigeria is road traffic accidents. So that is one of the leading causes. There are others that are caused by our bodies, the cardiac arrest, but the major one, they call it trauma or road traffic accidents. Okay, that's the leading
okay?
cause. Then, then cardiac arrest could be another cause, another leading cause of accident, of emergencies. Then snake bite for those who are in the tropics or in the
Okay.
yes, tropics, yes, snake bites. Then could have normal the brain activity, convulsions, and all that. But the leading cause of emergencies in Nigeria is road traffic accidents. That's what we call normal accidents, call it accidents.
Okay.
So that's one of the bigger
Okay.
causes. And then the response of people towards that is really low. For example, you are in an emergency situation caused by road traffic, collision of two vehicles or probably a vehicle and a truck. In an ideal Nigerian setting, you will see Nigerians, majority of them in the process of helping, trying to help these victims of an accident, they do more harm. They do more harm than good. It's not because they actually want to do it, but it is because they are not really equipped. Now, the way you
Okay.
handle accident victims or people that sustain injuries from falls or probably violence, domestic violence, or two form of sorry, two court. Let me use the normal one I'm familiar with. Courtists, for example, fighting and all that. Two groups fighting. So the way people respond, we call them bystanders. Now, for a road traffic accident, you see when it has occurred, you see people running to the scene trying to help. There are ways you actually handle these patients that people that have sustained injuries from this road traffic accident. There are ways you handle them to ensure that you do know you're not doing more harm than good.
Okay.
The majority of the bystanders, majority of our people that are trying to, they don't have these ideas. Now you're going to help somebody who has sustained injuries from road traffic accident. You are very careful enough. For us in the medical field, we're very careful enough to know that okay, as the C spine, that's the spinal cord, to which we are going to be very careful in handling it. Now you just get packing people trying to help. Even most of the bodies, the emergency bodies we have in Nigeria, they still don't have these basic tips. You don't handle patients that have suffered from road traffic accidents the same way you handle normal patients now because
Okay.
you don't know where the injury is coming from. You don't know what must have caused it. The person might not have been using seat belts, which could be from the person's fault because most of our people they don't even like using seat belts. Now, another thing could be a factor. There is no airbag. Most vehicles, upon collision with probably a mobile vehicle or something or a stationary vehicle, you find that their airbags do not deploy. You see this person sustaining injuries in the chest regions, in the face region, and all that. Most of the times, most of these persons they even go out. Depending on the type of collision, you have different type of collisions. Actually, you have the frontal collision, you have the rear collision, and the side collision, and every other type of collision. Now, this
Okay,
regular
Jessica, sorry, let me cut you off there. I know you're ready to just give us all of this. But I want to ask you one question. I want to ask you one question. In your experience in the field, what do you think you wish everybody knows? What do you think you wish everybody knows in your experience in the field, your personal experience now? Everybody,
okay,
every bystander, what do you think they know?
everybody. All right, thank you very much. Everybody from the age of 5 should be well equipped in what we call cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Now, this is the most basic technique. You can actually save life. Now, saving a life does not actually mean going advanced. Simple things, just little things can actually save lives. And one of these is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It is a process or a technique whereby you are trying to help this person who has actually stopped breathing from maybe a collision with a vehicle
Okay.
or cardiac arrest toxins, anything. We're trying to help this person breathe. It involves you compressing on this person's chest and giving the person breath, because so many things can actually cause it. Like I said, road traffic accident can cause it, toxins can cause it, diabetes can cause it, low sugar can also cause it. It makes the heart stop. So a situation whereby you see somebody not breathing, CPR is the best and is recommended, and it's something everybody, regardless of your age,
Sure.
should have and know.
Okay, now, back to CPR. Are there cases where maybe victims are brought or patients are brought to the hospital, and if only they had been given CPR on the site, they would have still been alive? Are there cases like that?
A lot of cases, a lot. There have been a lot of cases at because, for example, let me just go a bit deeper. For example, you experience an emergency at home. The timeline between a person receiving TPR to a person surviving or reaching the hospital in the ideal Nigerian situation can take up to 3 hours.
Wow.
Can take up to 3 hours, even more than that. Several reasons. Could be from the house, before they attend to the emergency, before they take to the vehicle, bring them to the hospital. It has taken a lot of time. So if everybody is quick to it and you see somebody just fall down immediately, you already detect that, okay, this person is not breathing. This person's heart is not going. You can't feel the person at all, the pulse, falling pulse. Person is not breathing and all that. If you implement CPR, you can save a lot. There are a lot of persons that have died because they didn't receive CPR. A lot of them, they have died. Like out of one in every 10 persons, look at 9 in every 10 persons actually have died from not receiving CPR.
Okay.
The basic. What basically is just to help the person breathe and keep the heart pumping. Because when the heart stops pumping, there's no oxygen to go around. And when the person stops breathing, there's no oxygen because actually our blood carries oxygen. So and they work together. So what makes one to stop will also make the other to stop.
Okay.
And that's that. Leading to death. Yeah.
All right. I think at this point we'll just delve straight right in. Mr. Robert, I don't know if you have any question, but we'll just go straight to the 5 basic emergency tips. I think you mentioned one, so I don't know if you can list them for us right now. The 5 basic emergency tips you think everyone should have.
Okay, now there's something. Okay, for the first one I said CPR. Everybody should have CPR skill. Then the second one is everybody should know how to stop a bleeding or a bleed or any type of bleed. There are different types of bleeding. You can have from minor to severe. For example, you're walking in the kitchen and you cut your hands or you cut your finger. That is a bleed. It's not as severe as when somebody's limb or the hand is cut off. The difference in flow of blood will be much. For somebody that has cut down, and you can use a gauze, we call it a gauze or a cotton wool to tamponade it. You try to stop the bleed.
Okay.
But you can't actually stop the bleed. For example, the person has a cut on the arm and you can't stop the bleed. You can actually help the person, you can elevate it while tamponading the bleeding, you elevate the hand so that the blood will stop. Because when you try to prevent the flow of blood, it can cause clotting. So that's the idea of tamponading it, trying to block that bleeding, by stopping it. So the other way you can also do is a worst case scenario. This one is mostly common in accident victims, where somebody's leg is amputated. You have the hands off or the legs off. Now the bleeding will be quite different from somebody that actually has a cut on the thumb or on the palm. So you want to help the person by tourniqueting it. We call it tourniquets. You're going to use something like a cloth to tie it. So that this person will bleed out or bleed to death. Because if someone bleeds a lot, it can lead to hypovolemic shock. The volume of blood will be so low that it cannot compensate for the person, and the person will die. That's another type of emergency, fracture. You come to a scene, you see somebody, or you are at home, somebody falls down, you see the bone is broken. As a non-medical personnel, you are not expected to try to align the bone. What you do, you try to tie it in that position and take him immediately to the hospital. Try to stop any bleeding and transfer to the hospital immediately. Then when they get to the hospital, they can do every other thing. Why don't we allow them to actually realign it? Now you have a person that has a broken bone. In the hospital, they are professionals that their focus is on bone. We call them orthopedic. What they do is they help with bone fractures and bone and all that. So they help and all that. But if you're not a non-medical personnel, you just try to realign the bone. For example, try to put it together. You can cause more harm than good, because that bone that is out it could just be a little nerve or a little blood vessel that is stopping this person from actually bleeding. And any slight changes or any slight injury to any nerve can cause a permanent paralysis or a permanent damage to that part of the hand or to any part of that part of the body. You want to be very careful. You don't realign the bones. You just try to take this person to the hospital, try to stop the bleeding as soon as possible and take to the hospital. The other thing is choking. Like I said, the first one I said is CPR. The second one I said is fractures.
Okay. You mentioned bleeding. You mentioned bleeding. CPR, bleeding.
The third one.
Okay, bleeding and fraction goes together.
Yeah, they go together. Most times they go together. Then the other type of emergency we want to be very careful of is choking. You are in a bar or you're in a restaurant. You see somebody eating and talking. That's one of the most common cause of choking, eating and talking. Now, where our food passes and where air passes are quite different. It's just a little flap of muscle that covers it. So when you want to cover the flap of muscle, we call it the epiglottis. It tries to cover the airway, call it where the air passes, where your oxygen and your carbon dioxide goes in and out. It tries to cover it so that food won't go there. So when you're talking, the epiglottis is still open, and you are eating and talking. So automatically, if the epiglottis is open, it's not going to try to cover the airway. Any little food can go in and block the airway. So in such situations, type of things that can actually block the airway, eba, our normal food, eba, then meat can also block the airway. Or any bones too, big bones and all that can also block the airway. So a situation where you have somebody choking, you can also help to relieve choking. These choking have actually helped a lot of persons. There's somebody that a friend of mine actually he said he was going out. So his dad was eating. I was trying to tell him, hey, get something for me. And incidentally, the food went to his esophagus, to his airway. When he got there, he was confused. But because he had the basic tip that yes, when you try to help this person, you can go up and all that. He was able to relieve his dad. And one thing with choking is, if you don't try to help this person, like the meat is blocking this person's airway. If you do not try to help this person relieve it, it prevents oxygen and carbon dioxide from doing their exchange. Automatically prevents the person from breathing, and that can lead to death.
Wow! Wow. Just from food, the person can die.
Just from food.
Wow!
What's just from food? Bolus of food like eba. Rice will not cut it.
Okay.
Because rice is not a complex food. No, Italian swallow can cut it. So meat can cause it and all that. So we want to help this person. Well, there's a technique we use called the Heimlich maneuver. Now, Heimlich maneuver was found. They discovered it in the developed country. So they try to teach us, okay, when somebody is choking, you want to help this person relieve the choking. How is it done? You go behind this person's back. When you go behind the person's back, you try to make a fist. You locate this person's navel, go upward a bit, use your other hand to support the fist, and you go in and you give this person an inward and upward thrust. Do it a couple of times, like 3 times. It is expected that it should go.
Okay. So you don't just hit. You don't just hit. You're going to press.
Hitting will not relieve the airway. But there are special locations where you can actually help this person. Now you cannot do this procedure like I said for a baby. No, you can't, because you can't carry a child and start locating. So what you will do, we're going to give this child 5 back flaps and chest thrust. We are doing this to relieve the child's airway. There's a way we align the baby. The baby will be on you try to put your elbow on your shoulder, on your knee. Then the baby leans like you want. The baby is going lean downward. So when you compress on, you try to slap the baby 5 times, and that we call them infants. Children that are below 1 year.
Okay.
So that's that. You try to help this baby. You give him.
Okay, but do you think it's not weird for children below 1 year to be given a bar or meat or something?
In our country is quite different. You see a child of 2 months eating a bar, Santana. It's not ideal to give a child just such bolus of food. No, it's not, because their bodies are not yet developed to take those kinds of food.
Okay.
Okay. Then for a pregnant woman, there are also exceptions. So a pregnant woman, you don't want to do that because of the baby. So what you do, you just give pregnant woman chest. You try to give the person, you call it chest thrust. You go inward and upward, the same way you are doing for a normal person, and then the food goes up.
All right. So I think you've listed the 5, right? I guess.
No, the fourth. Then the fifth one, I'll do is conversion. This one is very
Conversion.
common. This one is common, and most people have gone traditional about it. So
Yeah.
conversion occurs when there is spasm. The brain's activity, misfiring, causes spasm. Okay? So now you see this person become most of this occurs with children most times. But adults, when it becomes so much, it develops to epilepsy.
Okay.
So somebody walking on the street just falls down and, as an adult, and starts um, giving body spasms. Started coming from really from the mouth and all that. Then it can last for about 5 minutes. But that's why the person gets up and start walking. Now, for this person, for example, convulsion, what our parents do normally, so they put their children's leg in the fire. Just because they believe it's spiritual, but it's not spiritual. Conversion is not spiritual. It can happen to anybody. Happen to
Okay.
anybody.
So what do you think we should do? What do you think we should do during convulsions? Like, I heard that if you put spoon between the teeth or something.
No. If you put food in the teeth or you put your fingers, it's not good. You might even break the dentures of the dentition of the child. So the best is just to take the person to the hospital. They will do every other thing there. But most of the time, for a child, it starts from fever, and then move on to convulsion. We call it febrile convulsion. These are special cases for children. Convulsion that is caused by fever. And you see the child's body is very hot. So the little way you can actually intervene for that child is, one, you can try to help this baby's temperature go down. If the baby,
So
okay.
why convulsing? Why convulsing? What do we do? Should I pour water on the baby to
So you
bring
don't
the
pour water,
temperature?
you just take them to the hospital. You prevent the person from actually anything at all, any form of bracelets. You remove it from the person's body. You want the person strangulating himself with it.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
when you go to the hospital, they will give drugs there. They'll give drugs
Okay.
there.
So are you saying our best bet is to allow it play out, allow that episode play out, and then take the person to the hospital?
Because there's nothing actually that you can do there. Since
Okay.
you can't put a spoon in the child's mouth, it's not advisable.
Okay. Okay.
When you start hitting the child and every other thing, no, you transfer to the hospital immediately.
Okay. All right. Mr. Robert, I have one question for you. The issue is that you are a social person, and you know most of the social behaviors that Nigerians have. Now, if you are in an emergency situation, maybe let's say for an example, in an accident scene, what would you do? Will you bring out your phone to video? Because I was actually in an accident scene one time, and then close to a hospital, and then a woman ran into a street light, and she ran into a street light inside the campus, University of Benin, and some students ran towards the woman. I was hungry. I was going to the buka to eat, so I watched. When they ran to the woman, they didn't go bring her out of the car. They brought out their phone and started videoing. So when I saw that, I ran. I and another security man. But before I got there, the security man went there, brought out the woman, chased the students away, and then told her to sit down. Fortunately for her, I knew the woman because she worked in a place my parents worked, one of my parents worked rather. And then from there, we called the health center ambulance to take her away. But she didn't have any bad injury, just her car got destroyed. Now, what do you think is a major cause for this? Where during an emergency scene, there is this urge to trend, or this urge to make a video, this urge to do anything apart from saving lives.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, but it is the case in various aspects of our society these days. Even when there's a problem, maybe someone is getting robbed in broad daylight. Previously, you see
Okay.
people in the community who try to stop it. But these days, people will record that incident. So it's the same thing with these accidents. We are so into social media that it has taken away our own humanity. I got to a point where someone is literally dying and you turn off your empathy and you turn on your phones and start recording. This is quite unfortunate. But personally, I definitely won't start recording. I don't even, social media is not even my thing to begin with.
Okay.
But on a general sense, most people will rather just record the incidents.
Okay. Let me come back to you, Jessica. Have you been in a situation? You know, you've been on the field for a few times. Have you been in a situation where you go to an accident scene or an emergency scene, and then instead of helping, you meet people who are socializing, like making videos of the scene? What have you ever been there, Jessica? That question is for you. Hello, Jessica. Did you get that? Jessica, did you get that? Did you get the question and ask? Okay, I don't think she can
I don't
hear
think
me.
she's sharing.
Okay, I
I
don't
don't
think
think
she
she
can hear
heard.
me. All right,
Mm.
all right.
But
Oh,
I
so
also have a question also.
okay, okay,
Uh, it's a two-way question on the issue of litigation in emergency medicine.
okay,
So there's this trend that we've seen for years now, where a patient is brought into the hospital with gunshot wound, for instance, an emergency
okay,
case, and they are requesting for police reports in the hospital
o-
before treating
okay.
that patient. I don't know if you've heard of such instances
Yes, I
before,
have, I
because
have.
yeah, so I want to understand, because when we watch movies in maybe Hollywood movies, we see that even a criminal is treated, but maybe you'll be handcuffed to the bed.
Yeah.
But I don't know why in Nigeria, even when you are not a criminal, they will request for a police report first before treating
Okay,
that individual.
okay. Jessica, did you get that question? Okay. I don't think she can hear. But Mr. Robert, I totally understand the question because while I was in school, I was into campus journalism a little bit, and we had to make a visit to the police commissioner. We actually didn't meet him in the office. We actually saw his PRO. So we engaged him on most of these issues because it was not funny. You know, somebody who shot a victim as a robbery victim will actually need a police report before he's being attended to. But actually, I think at that year, the IG of police, as in at the center, the top Abuja, had already okayed the treatment of gunshot injury. He has already okayed the treatment of gunshot injury. But the issue we had then, I think that year was 2016 or 2017, can't really remember. We actually had to engage the IG of police why his men has not been given that orientation. Because as at that time when we're doing this interview, we had a person who was not attended to because of a gunshot injury. Meanwhile, at the center, it was already given a go ahead that doctors and hospitals can attend to gunshot injuries. Yes, I remember now. A doctor was harassed for attending to a gunshot injury. And then we had to cover the news to why was that doctor being harassed? Because it was already been okayed in the center in Abuja that they could attend to gunshot injuries. So it is obvious that from what we got, it was obvious that the men on the field were not given this orientation that doctors are allowed to attend to gunshot injuries without a police report, at least to reduce to stop the death or maybe reduce the crisis that victim is going through. I think as of now, I think that law is valid. Let me just do a quick search here.
Yeah, because I know in 2017, Senate passed that bill.
Yes, yes, yes. I
But
think so. I think that
but
that was the year. I think that was the year.
yeah, but the issue is, even as recent as 26th January 2021, the IGP
Yeah,
was still urging hospitals to treat victims of gunshot wounds without requesting for police reports. Because
yeah,
this thing has been here for decades, it has been institutionalized. So to start changing it now,
yeah. It's quite
it's a
difficult. That
whole
training is quite
different.
difficult.
Yes, because I'm
Yeah, it's
sure even
quite
till tomorrow, there are hospitals that
difficult.
will say,
That will not accept any gunshot. Yes, yes. I think
yeah,
I'm seeing here in Nigeria gunshot injury treatment and care for Nigeria police actually okayed it in 2017. So I don't know. I don't know. The point is this that most of these laws are made and then orientations and reorientation are not given to most of the police officers in the field. You understand? So and that's actually a problem. It's a space, it's a gap. Especially sometimes when you see, I think one of the cause for this apathy or for attending to emergency victim especially except it's a relative or a close friend or a neighbor. People get into trouble for doing all of this. Imagine there's an accident scene, you are taking that person to the hospital, and as soon as you get there, the hospital is detaining you to remain
Yes.
there because they don't want you to leave. They feel that you are the cause. You get
Yes.
so I think that is another. I don't know. Jessica is not around. I don't know if she must have experienced any of those things, but it's real. All these things are real, and they really affect the the process of emergency care. I don't know. What do you think is that reason? How do you think we can solve that problem of people having this apathy for offering emergency help? What do you think can be maybe a solution, a social solution? Because it's a social problem actually. It's not a health problem. It's a social problem. If it's a social problem, what do you think is a social solution for persons who refuse or who are rather drawn to do any other thing apart from helping persons in emergency?
Yes. That fear that you'll be held responsible is one of the major factors,
Yeah,
because people get scared that what if they take the victim there and the victim dies in the hospital or even on the way to the
to the
hospital?
hospital. Yeah,
How do you explain yourself? And we don't even have a concrete database to say, okay, no matter what happens, we know this is this person, this is this person's family, to
yeah,
confirm that yes, this person traveled, you can call this number. They will say,
yeah,
"Ah, you killed this person. How do you know? How do you prove that this was just somebody traveling? How do you prove that?"
yeah,
You, in countries where they have a proper social database, I can just write my name and my, let's say, social security number, for instance, and just drop the
yeah,
person. They trust the
yeah,
process that no matter what, I can always get back to that person. But in Nigeria,
yeah,
they will insist that you wait in that hospital.
yeah, yeah. Okay, Jessica, you're back, right?
Yes, I am. Sorry
Okay,
for that.
okay. Yes, sorry. We are rounding up now, but we have a little question. We're trying to talk. We're talking about a matter here. Persons who offer emergency help, emergency care to victims, cases where they are held by the hospitals and they are not allowed to leave. For example, if I bring someone who let's say has a gunshot injury to the hospital, and then the doctors or the hospitals will think I am the one who shot the person and they will not want me to leave. What do you think about that? And have you ever experienced something like that? How did you handle it if you have?
Okay, yes, that's true. It's very common. The reason I've experienced a lot of it working in the emergency department for a number of time, like 3 years. I've experienced it. The reason most of the times that happens is just to actually get somebody accountable that you can actually hold to know, okay, want to know this relationship with this person. And the kind of persons that are actually held in the hospitals are those people that bring unconscious patients to the hospital. Now, we want to know if this person is actually the reason that patient is in that condition. I want to also clarify because there's a person that just come, they dump people in the hospital and they just go.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you need to as you call them like you need somebody to actually build the person and try to know more about it. Because
Okay,
for
to
conscious
build the
person,
person.
yes,
Okay, to be, but sorry, I have a question in that line. You work in a hospital, right, Jessica?
yes, yes, I do.
Okay, now, what do you think when they bring an unconscious person or somebody that is having past habit that has an emergency? Is there a limit to which or care is given to that person based on if he doesn't have any money because he's in an emergency? Is there ways where he's going to be attended to first before they can, or they just wait like all hospitals? Okay, go and deposit money. If you can't deposit money, they will not attend to you. Stuff like that. Is it like that?
Well, to be sincere, it's like that most time. To be sincere, it's like that because I think one of the reasons is, but other times there are exceptions to it.
Okay.
Exceptions to it. While I was a student, I experienced a lot of that where you just bring a patient, they tell you go and pay for this, pay for that, before they attend to patients. It's not only in Benin or it's not only in Edo State. It's in most hospitals even outside Benin City, that's in Nigeria as a whole. It's common.
Okay.
But other times there are exceptions where they have an emergency and they just want to immediately attend to this person. But other times, if it's an unconscious patient and they've exhausted most of the equipment or their resources on this patient and the person doesn't come out, who pays the bills? Nobody.
Okay.
Nobody.
Okay.
So
And
it's common for them to just to for health persons to say, okay, pay this first, pay that first, and this whole process, it's not beneficial to this person, to this patient actually, or to this victim.
okay. Okay. So what's your advice? What's your advice generally for every Nigerian out there, especially those that travel with road? Road that you mentioned that road transport or road accidents is actually the leading cause for emergencies in the country. So what's your advice to Nigerians, those that use the roads, and everyone in general?
Okay. For people that travel, that ply the road, you have your own car and a public transport and all that. Say those that have their own cars, there are basic things that you can actually do to prevent it. The leading cause of road traffic accident, from what we've observed over time, is speed. Is speed.
Why will you say
Speed.
speed? There
Some
are some
people
people
drive
that like
at
to speed. Mr. Robert.
speed is one of the
Mr.
reasons.
Robert wants to be in Lagos and he wants to be in Abuja at almost like 1 hour difference. I don't know. How else do you meet that apart from speed?
Speed, non-use of seat belts.
Okay. Okay. Then
They don't obey
US.
traffic signs. People don't obey traffic signs at all. They just
Okay.
because then our country is kind of there's no law that actually allows you to that punishes until recently. So they just allow you just drive as you want and all that.
Okay. Okay. Is that right? Is that right? Thank you very much, Jessica, for being
No
live
problem.
with us today. Thank you for sharing those tips. The first, you mentioned convulsion, how to handle. You told us how to handle convulsion, how to handle trauma, bleeding, bone fracture. You mentioned
CPR,
again CPRO,
CPR,
CPRO,
token.
and choking. That is much more very interesting. It's very very funny how people die from choking. So please don't eat while talking. Don't eat while talking. All right. And then Mr. Robert give us a breakdown or a few of the reasons that's related to why people are having this apathy to emergency victims, emergency cases. If you are just joining us now, we'd like you to go back and watch and hear all of those things that have been shared. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Robert, I don't know if you have any comments for us before we go.
Okay, my final say would be when you are traveling, because as Jessica mentioned, accidents are the leading emergency that we have in Nigeria. Ensure you always have your identity with you. Have it on you.
Okay.
Don't keep it in your
Okay.
bag. Keep it in your pocket. It's very important for them to
Okay.
identify you. As we've stated, there's no concrete social database. So it's very
Yeah.
important to have an identity
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Have your identity on you. And my last comment will be don't eat while talking. That's a very, very funny way to die. All right. So thank you very much,
Especially for more.
everyone. Thank you. Especially what?
For more.
That's funny. I don't know what will you say before the judgment seat of God. And say, what killed you? Say, I was talking. I don't understand. Is that right? Thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate the
All right.
time. Catch you same time
Thank you so
next
much.
week. All right. Thank
All
you,
right.
Yeah.
Thank you
Jessica.
both
Have a
for
great
more.
weekend, everybody. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.